Welcome to your Module 3 overview video of Course 1. So Module 2, we looked at a lot of the theories and definitions of giftedness, and here in Module 3, we're going to be starting to dive into the affective needs or the social-emotional needs of gifted students. Part 1, based on how I had to do the syllabus, Part 2 actually comes later, but it's just because we had to fit in our special needs population around the time that we were going to be in our in-residence session. So hence Part 1, but we will pick back up with it later. So if you were absent from Module 1, this is just another reminder that you need to make sure you complete all of the readings, and then also make sure you have completed your learner's traits, learner's needs, and teacher responses assignment. All of that can be found on the website. That was due yesterday, August 20th. And make sure that you also navigate to the Module 1 presentation to find your slides for the special population group presentation. So those of you who are absent and you have not signed up for your special group population, your group members are going to be, might be a little snooty to you if you hop in with their group last minute and don't do any work to contribute to the group to the group presentation. So make sure you navigate back to the Module 1 presentation to sign up for your special populations group. And those presentations will be completed in Module 5, our next in-residence session. Just a reminder that I have not graded your learners' traits, needs, teacher responses assignments yet, but I will be hopefully today, if not by tomorrow, and I'll be putting in a grade sheet spreadsheet into your parent CCSD gifted folder, where I'll also complete your Module 1 attendance and then your points that you earn for that first assignment. So be on the lookout for that. You can navigate to each of the courses. Down there you'll see a little tab for each of the courses for all of your grades and progress. Just a quick reminder that Course 1 is reading intensive, that the more that you understand the characteristics of your gifted students, the better you're going to be able to serve them. So that's going to serve you in the next course assessment, and especially in that third course, the methods and materials. There is no one definition of giftedness. There is no one strategy that you can use to really serve them. So the more you know about your students, the better able, and probably also the more you know your content, the more tools you'll have in your toolkit for serving them. The Google Plus forum contributions have been excellent so far. I've hopped on there. I've responded to, I think, almost everybody who's posted. Here are some of the ones that I thought were really interesting that if you haven't responded to them, maybe, and you have a response, maybe go ahead and do that. So Megan Jackson said, I think sometimes we have this idea in our head of what a gifted student should be like, but when I was reading through this chapter, it pointed out traits in gifted students that I wouldn't have even considered to be gifted traits. And hopefully that's the reason why you're here in these courses, is that yes, there are going to be things that you know already just because you've worked with these students, but hopefully there are going to be some good little nuggets that either come up in reading or come up in discussion or conversation or in resident sessions that are a little bit new for you. Joshua, so that personally I found when completing the reading that much of what we think about or should think about when working with identifying gifted students is that we have to meet them where they are. This is a practice that should be pervasive throughout everything we do as educators, as each individual child has different and specific needs. Students who identify or are identified as gifted are no different in this regard. And that's true, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here is take almost this equity stance of gifted education. It's this, this is potentially a population in your school or in your classroom that doesn't get as much, I don't even want to say attention, but thoughtful consideration when planning lessons and assignments and assessments and all of that. So it should be something to consider. There was another person who posted on the discussion forum, and I'm forgetting exactly who it was. I forgot. But anyways, and now I feel like I've lost my train of thought trying to think of who posted it. Anyways, maybe it'll come back to me. I'll go on to the next one. Cecilia wrote that I really like how this first assignment, the learner's traits, needs, and teacher responses, has us thinking about how different traits have different student needs and then require different teacher or student responses. I think one of the challenges in a heterogeneous setting, like our middle school science and social studies classes, is really developing authentic learning opportunities that meet those various needs without the work of just becoming more for gifted students. And I want to be raising my hands, yes, because we don't often gifted students finish things quickly, and so we have to feel like we have to give them more, or now here's your challenge exercise or your enrichment activity now that you've finished everything that everybody else has already done. And especially young gifted children who are often very aware start to realize that like, not all, but if I finish things quickly, I just have to do more work. And if I hate school or don't like my teacher or am not interested in this stuff, then what's the purpose of doing it? And they can get really frustrated or start to learn quickly that being gifted means more. And that's one thing that we want to try and steer away from. And hopefully I'll give you some strategies in the third course, but little tidbits along the way of how you can address that. I think another important thing that Cecilia mentions is that being in a heterogeneous setting, it's really, while we want to, and I think I mentioned this on her post in the forum, while we want to be teachers who can service all of our kids all of the time, I'm a little bit more of the cynic of the critical, like it's almost impossible to service 30 plus students in your classroom that are all at different levels, that all have different needs, that all have different strengths and weaknesses. And so I'm not saying we need to do that, and I don't feel like a good gifted endorsement facilitator of these classes would tell you to do that. This shouldn't be more work for you as a teacher. Rather, what we're going to try and do throughout these courses is really decide when is it appropriate to differentiate or to provide these different learning opportunities for these gifted students, and just be honest that it's going to take time to really hone in those skills as an educator and a teacher. So if it's just like, if you're just adjusting one unit this quarter, excellent. It's not, you're not going to be able to differentiate every single day for every single student. It's just, I'm going to say, and do it well and effectively. It's just not possible. So try and take that expectation down a knot and just see like, what can you really put your time towards? Like, think of the big projects or the units where in your past, some of these gifted students have really felt like bored, or you feel like they get really lethargic or they're disinterested, or based on your own content knowledge, you can really feel that you can extend that for them and focus on those first. Then over time, you'll just start to add things in your, toolkit, if I want to keep using that metaphor. Other things about the discussion forum. Please make sure that your posts are contributing to the forum. And I know I said, like in that initial pin post, these can be reflections and insight. Simply stating, I enjoyed this reading and I look forward to the next readings, isn't like a substantial post. So please try and make sure that you're being like professional and reflective in what your reflections are, and maybe what it is that you enjoyed about the reading or what it is that you did not enjoy about the reading. So make sure they're a little meaty. They don't have to be long and extensive, but do make sure that you're like putting forth thought and not just like cheerleading and putting those posts really don't count. So in effort to kind of help that, I'm just going to post a new requirement. And I hope this will also facilitate some more engagement on the forum as well, just over the 10 modules, is to please include or conclude with at least one question for your classmates to respond to. So post your little insight, your reflection, the link to the cool website you found, the other reading that you felt has been helpful, and pose a question to your classmates, and hopefully that will help kind of keep discussion going rather than just a like, yes, I agree. And I hope too that we can all agree that this forum, that we are hopefully creating a space where we can disagree. So if you want to challenge someone professionally and or just offer a different perspective, I think that's going to be really healthy for us. And so please feel free to, if that's a little out of your comfort zone, that's okay, but maybe try doing that. For Module 3, this is due August 27th at midnight. You have just one chapter in your textbook to read, Davis and Rim Chapter 17, which I think talks about, I think it's titled Counseling, but it gets a lot of the affective needs of gifted students. And you have Silverman's article, Perfectionism, the Crucible of Giftedness. So my field, my dissertation is all about social emotional needs of gifted students. I mean, they're just like libraries, well, not really libraries, but there's extensive resources on social emotional needs of gifted. Giving this one chapter of Davis and Rim, and also I noticed someone posted on the forum, like this Davis and Rim textbook, you'll see it's just like, let me verbal vomit a bunch of like words and citations and definitions. This textbook is kind of known for that. It's kind of really, really broad, but it kind of just skims the surface level. So I feel like Silverman's article here that's just talking about perfectionism is appropriate for gifted children and gifted adolescents, because it's one of those types of characteristics of gifted students that I feel a bunch of other affective needs can kind of stem from. And it is a characteristic that I feel as teachers and educators you might be more easily able to pick up on. So that should be a really nice reading. It is part of a journal, so you're going to see the way that it is written. It's not written as a chapter of a textbook. It's written for a journal article. I think the Journal of Gifted Education International or something. But I think you'll still find it more easily readable than some of the Davis and Rim chapters. Optional or to skim for secondary teachers, I have a chapter that's just about the social-emotional development of gifted adolescents. So secondary, middle school, high school teachers, maybe you skim the Davis and Rim and really read the Assouline and Colangelo chapter, and that might be more helpful for you. To do, you have your social emotional needs assignment. I did post an exemplar on the website. So if you navigate to your website, tinyurl.com/CCSD gifted, 1819, I didn't want to do that. Your social emotional needs assignment looks like this. And let me back out of that just in case you can't see that. I don't know if it captures it when I go full screen. But you're really choosing 3 social emotional needs that you find in your gifted students. So your Davis and Rim chapter textbook is going to be really helpful. And then you're going to consider how, picking those 3, consider how a lack of attention to that social emotional need may impact the gifted child or adolescent in your classroom. Brainstorm some ways you can support that social emotional need in your classroom. And then list 2 or 3 resources. You can use people, books, organizations, links, TED Talks that you think would be helpful as a teacher or to a gifted child or adolescent. So this could be a resource for you or a resource that you could hand over to the child or the child's parents if you want to think of it that way. Throughout some of these assignments, you may just see me refer to gifted adolescents. That's just because I originally created this course just for the secondary cohort. So if you're an elementary school teacher in here, I'm considering it children and adolescents. So if you just see adolescents, just means that I haven't gone back and fixed those little sentences, but just appropriate that for children for you. So that is your assignment that is going to be due at midnight. And let's see, the last little part that we have, and I'm usually better at my screen than this, I promise, is looking ahead. Make sure you start to gather your documents for your special population presentation that's going to be done in Module 5, where you present to the class. So here in 3, keep gathering your documents and resources. I've linked you to those folders of all additional resources, but again, you're going to find more if you'd like. Next modules, we're going to study and read and work on your presentation. So there's not an assignment due next module other than you just working on your presentation that will be due in the fifth module. Other than that, have a great rest of your week. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.